Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Insert Wisdom podcast, episode number 14. I know it's been a long time since my last episode, but we're here now, and that's all that matters. But I am so excited to record this episode because, for those of you who don't know, I post a lot on Threads and TikTok. I have a pretty sizable following on TikTok of about 85,000. I don't really like it much anymore. Threads has become my absolute favorite platform, and they just announced that we can link our podcasts to our profile. So Insert Wisdom is now linked to my Threads profile. I'm so excited. I can't wait to make more episodes for you guys. And yeah, I mean, Threads has really become my favorite place because it's fun. You can post about whatever you want. The interaction is amazing. I've grown pretty quickly on there, I would say. I'm almost at 10K there. So, yeah, I love to put out little quips, things that I'm thinking about on a daily basis. Clearly, I love to yap since I have this podcast. And I'm just forever grateful and excited for all the new ways that we can connect and, chat about these important topics. Today's episode is probably going to be a little bit shorter. I have quite a lot to update you guys about, but the main thing that I wanted to talk about today is my new workbook that I wrote and published on Gumroad. It's called The Art of After: How to Turn Grief into Art. It's a very personal project to me. I lost my dad very suddenly when I was 13 years old, and I did not have the support or the resources to help me get through that monumentally difficult time. Nobody ever really prepares you for losing somebody you love that quickly, especially when you're young. And I've spent a lifetime of learning how to transmute grief into art as much as possible. I think it's been one of the most beautifully intimate ways I've gotten to know myself. It tends to be, or seems to be, like, whenever I write something, it's my higher self that knows way more than I do before I even get there. And it's like I'm writing myself into being based off of what I'm writing. And the creative process is so important for healing. I talk a lot more about that in the book, of course, but you can't have death without life, and creation is associated with life and new beginnings. So I think being creative, and it doesn't have to just mean literally art, like painting. It can be any way that you create from something that is difficult, but the act of creation in itself, I think, is one of the most important ways for us to help not only heal ourselves, but to help others as well. So that was the basis for why I wrote this workbook, because I don't want others to feel alone in what they're going through. And I feel like this is the workbook I would have wanted to have when I was 13. So I thought what I would do in today's episode is read you a portion of the workbook. Essentially, the way that it's laid out is it's a lot of lyrical sort of essays, and then within the book there are 13 experiments or exercises that you can do to stimulate your own inner artist, or whatever it is that you would like to create from grief. There are 10 journal pages at the end of it. So what I encourage people to do with it is to print it out. And then, I feel like handwriting is so much more personal than typing on a phone. I am working on also maybe making it available for print through Amazon. I'm not sure though, because Amazon takes like 50% of every single sale. But with that, I'm going to wait for this siren to pass by, and then I'll read you a little bit of The Art of After. This is from the section that's titled The Myth of Loss. We've been told many lies about grief. We've been told it's linear, a predictable series of stages that will eventually end. We've been told it's endless, that it will haunt us forever like a shadow we can never outrun. We've been told we should get over it, that time will heal it, and the goal is to hide it or outgrow it. But none of that is the full story. What if I told you that there is only one real truth about healing grief, one cheat code that transcends all the myths we've been taught? Before we get there, let's dismantle some of the biggest illusions. Myth number 1, time heals all wounds. Time doesn't heal anything, you do. Time itself is an illusion. It's not a straight line marching forward, but more like a great swirling fishbowl. We exist somewhere within it, and how we relate to it determines how we experience it. Healing isn't something time gives us. It's something we participate in. Healing happens when we engage with our grief, not when we sit back and wait for the clock to do the work. Myth number 2, you will never get over your grief. There's a sliver of truth here. Yes, I will probably always miss my dad. I still cry when I think about how much I wish I could talk to him again. But even so, I don't believe grief is a chain we're doomed to drag forever. We don't get over it. We integrate it. We let it become part of who we are, not all that we are. And within that choice, there is freedom. Myth number 3, you'll outgrow it, or you should hide it. There's nothing shameful about grief, full stop. Hiding it does not make it disappear. It only isolates us from the love, meaning, and connection still available on the other side. The truth, we never truly lose anything. The reason this section is called The Myth of Loss is because, at the deepest level, we never truly lose anything. The universe is always in motion, bringing things into form, letting them dissolve, and creating anew. What we think of as loss is really transformation. Matter becomes memory. Love changes shape, but it does not disappear. The cheat code I mentioned is this. When you choose to imagine yourself as whole and complete already, not someday, but now, everything else begins to shift. And then I figured I would also give you guys one of the exercises that I have in the workbook. This one seems to be pretty popular. It's called Grief as Element. Grief is alive. It has shape, texture, temperature, and movement, if we're willing to listen. Choose one of the 4 elements, fire, water, wind, or earth, and imagine your grief taking that form. How does it behave? What does it destroy, and what does it nourish? How does it move through you? How does it speak? Then give it expression. If it's fire, maybe you paint in bold, wild colors. If it's water, maybe you write a flowing stream of consciousness piece. If it's wind, maybe you speak aloud or sing. If it's earth, maybe you sculpt, plant, or build something tangible. Reflection. What did this element reveal about your grief that you hadn't seen before? What does it need from you? I am very proud of this workbook. I have already seen it affect and help so many people. There's a hospice care in Texas who is using it in their practice. I've been speaking with therapists as well about using it as a resource for their clients. I was featured on a More Perfect podcast, which has over 100,000 listeners. And it's just really, really beautiful for me to see something I've made and watch how it goes out into the world and interact with other people. Because you could create things solitarily, of course you can, but for me personally, I love when it's a communal thing, when I'm working with multiple people and it's spreading out there and becoming its own unique thing outside of what it was when I sat here at this desk writing it, late one night. And I have it listed on Gumroad. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, I will have a link to it in the show notes if you would like to check it out. And if you do, I would love to hear how it goes for you. Like I've mentioned in previous episodes, I also have an email that you can connect with me or ask questions that could be featured on the podcast. That email is insertwisdom@gmail.com. I am also already writing my third book, which I am loving the process of writing that. If you are in Los Angeles, it has been raining here for a good couple of days, and it's just been so restorative and lovely. I utilize that time to do a lot of writing. I'm handwriting this book in particular. It just seems to come out more easily that way. But I might do another episode that's dedicated to my writing process now and what that looks like compared to even just a few months ago, because it definitely has changed. But one of the other reasons I'm so excited about linking this podcast to my Threads account is because of the engagement on there, and I can get real-time answers and questions from people on there who are already familiar with my Threads account and the type of stuff I post about. And then I can bring all of that here for longer episodes with you guys. Which again, for me, that alchemy of just creating things with other people and in the moment is my absolute favorite thing ever. So please reach out on the podcast if you have any questions or comments or whatever. I would love to hear anything you have to say. I also have links to all of my socials if you want to keep in touch. But I think that is going to be it for this episode of the Insert Wisdom podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.